Okay, hello. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a while. Today, I'm going to answer some questions that I have never answered before and things that I can answer in a little bit more depth. And I've got my cup of tea, I've got my phone, lol, banging book club are chatting to each other. Yeah, and we're just going to have a chat about all fun things. Okay, so I tweeted out and asked for some questions of things I've never answered before, and things which are maybe a bit like you wouldn't normally ask. This idea is totally stolen off Zoe. I spent like an evening in bed the other day watching these videos and just thought it was so good, like such a good idea. So here we go, warming me back up into the vlogging thing. Okay, first question, because it's something that's kind of relevant to recently. Have you ever questioned your sexuality? About a couple of weeks ago, I had a full-on crisis about whether I was bi. I don't know why. I just got the idea in my head that like, maybe I haven't realised yet. Maybe this is something I feel. Thinking back and thinking about any inkling of experience I could have had which could have led me to maybe be bi. And like, I really got myself worked up about it. And then someone eventually just kind of sat me down and said, Lucy, look, don't think about it too much. Just, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Go with the flow. And I was like, yeah, why am I panicking about this thing? Like, it makes no sense to worry about it. Just wait and see what happens. Right now, I'm quite convinced I'm straight. It's been 22 years and I've never fancied a girl. But there's room for that, you know? Like, I'm still really young. Lots of people get married and then realise they're gay. What's something you regret doing when you were 18? Something I regret not doing is not taking a gap year. Although, saying that, would I be where I am now if I had taken a gap year? I'm not sure. Would I have even done my degree? I don't know. Because now, at the age of 22, I've hardly travelled. Like, I've been to America, like to the Americas. I lived in Bahrain for a little while when I was like very young. And I've lived here in the UK and I've been to Europe, and that's like it. I've done 2 continents basically. And there's so many places, especially places that I've studied, that I just haven't been. And I'm a real home comforts person. I really love having a base and coming back to it often. I definitely couldn't just pack up and go for a year. That's not really how my brain works and how I would be happiest. But I do still want to visit places and I do still want to travel. I just don't know the best way of doing it. And I kind of wish I'd just got it all out of my system and done the really cool bits, or like the big chunks that maybe I would want to do now if I didn't know myself as well and knew that now I like my home comforts when I was 18 and 19. I think that would have been a really good experience for me. And when I went to uni, loads of people, I was the youngest like age in my year, obviously, because I went straight from school. But a bunch of people came into uni at the age of 20 and they'd done like a year or 2 of traveling. They'd maybe lived in another country, learned a language, and really lived for a couple of years before they'd gone to uni. And they just seemed to have a more mature brain and also were able to learn more easily. And I really envied that, because I was really struggling, partially just because when you're studying the history of the world and you haven't seen the world, loads of concepts and loads of things you're reading you cannot put into context. And I thought it was really cool that other people could, and I wish I'd been able to do that. So yeah, wish I'd taken some time out and done a gap year. I know you have briefly talked about your own mental health, especially re alcohol. Would you ever feel comfortable doing a video on the subject? I'm not sure where I stand with being too open online now, and I know that's ironic because I'm making a video of like super personal questions, but like I used to share a lot. So if you've been watching me for a while, you will have seen some videos that I made when I was 18, or so between like 17 and 19, where I talk in depth about my own experiences with mental health and with disordered eating maybe as well. But I found those incredibly personal, and like after a while of reflecting on like why I was putting up videos on my body image so much, and whether that was quite a burden for me, especially as I knew I was helping people, but I was also becoming known for talking about those things. And while I'm all about talking about raising awareness for mental health, I think talking about my own experiences so much was quite a personal burden for me. And so I think I've taken the majority of those videos down. I'm sure you can hunt some down still. But yeah, I probably won't make any more videos about my mental health unless things go incredibly sour, and they'll probably be from the perspective of in the moment as opposed to in the past tense, and I'll probably take them down a couple of months after I've made them. Just because, I don't know, it's deeply, deeply personal, and you have to draw lines when you make videos online about what you share and what you don't share. Yeah, it's just really hard drawing lines and working out what you're happy sharing publicly and keeping private. There's a really, really interesting new podcast that the True Geordie did with Alfie Days, where he talks about like kind of the balance of public and private life when you daily vlog and when you live your life somewhat in the public eye. And I thought it was so interesting because I could relate to a lot of it, but obviously on a much lower level. I'm nowhere near like Alfie Days level of fame, but yeah, I would really, really recommend listening to that and hearing that discussion, because you can kind of get an idea of the things that you might want or you might be considering if you were daily vlogging and how much of your life you share to an audience. But yeah, always an advocate for mental health, always happy to talk about it, but potentially not my personal experiences. What are your thoughts on sponsored content, and why do you think so many creators feel bad for doing a lot of sponsored videos, etc.? Ooh, good question. How do I feel about sponsored content? Right, I think this is important for you to know, and important for me to say as well, and if brands ever watch this, important for brands to know, because I'm trying to establish this new balance. You may have noticed that the best videos of sponsored content that I've made, I've had a much greater editorial role in them, and conceptually I've helped come up with a concept, and it's been in my style and been very creative, and it's kind of been made in collaboration with a brand as opposed to a highly sponsored, intensely thought out campaign that I'm just taking part in, where I'm just sent a brief and I'm told to do a thing. In general, I don't take those kind of projects on at all, very rarely. And now, from now on, I'm not taking on any project where I don't get creative input into the kind of, into what will go on my channel. Like, I really, really do want to shape everything that goes onto my channel now and not just fit into someone else's brief for that campaign. You may have noticed recently I've done a couple of spawns that haven't quite stuck by this, and that's all my own fault. I should have read the contracts more carefully. I should have read the briefs. They weren't of the highest quality that I could produce, and conceptually they weren't particularly original, and they could have been on anyone's channel, any random vlogger's channel, and it would have just sat there and kind of made sense maybe. And that's not how I want to make sponsored content. I love working with brands and working to a deadline and working with people to make something really cool. And, you know, I get extra money because of it. You know, I get to make bigger, better projects. I get to support myself and have an income from it. And I get to hire other creative people and bring them on board, like Becca, who I work with a lot for cinematography. She's great and amazing. And when we work together on a sponsored campaign, I can pay her way more than I'd be able to on an independent thing. But yeah, it's hard to strike that balance, and I'm still learning. I've been full-time for a year now. I'm doing YouTube full-time, and a lot of that is just learning about what you're happy doing, what you're not happy doing, how you're happy to share it, clauses in certain contracts that you're like happy with, not happy with, and really working out what your USP is, what your brand is, and how you and brands can work together to make something really cool. I never want to be that guy making something that I would be disappointed in or wouldn't want to watch. Mainly wouldn't want to watch. And recently I don't feel like I've been reaching my potential with sponsored content. And so I've now kind of made a personal policy that I'm only going to take on work that I really feel has integrity and I really feel is my own and I'm contributing to it, and not just being used as a billboard to project some kind of sponsored idea onto. I think about these things a lot, as you may be able to tell. Max asks, are you scared to put your music out there? You repeatedly said that music makes you happy. If so, is that fear justified? I am so keen to release music. So keen. It's just a case of working myself out, what I want my sound to be like, who I can work with as well, working with producers, working by myself, and like how to go about it. And also, if I did music, I think another big struggle of it is that I don't want to be portrayed as a YouTube musician because I don't put music on my YouTube really. And so it's hard to create that line and differentiate. And no one, Troye Sivan's managed it. But basically as soon as he started releasing music, he stopped doing everything else. So I want to be able to do music, but it takes a lot of coordination and planning and thinking about things and having the right team behind you and blah, 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 blah. So just know it's in the works. And it's an active thought, especially over the past couple of months that I've been having. Something else you might want to know is that I've been doing writing sessions. So like every couple of weeks, I've been working with different songwriters and writing songs and like doing fun things. And there's more of that on the horizon. Yeah, and that's really good because I love that. If I could just do writing sessions for like my career, I probably would because I find them really enjoyable. But I'm still warming up and I'm still learning. So again, there's lots of music stuff happening, but it's kind of cogs turning in the background. And just know I am terrified to put it out, but that's because I don't want to do it wrong. And I don't want to release anything I'm not 100% happy with or something I wouldn't be happy to be a part of my long-term discography. There you go. Answers. Yeah. I've been wondering, who are your flatmates? I don't know if you've answered or mentioned this before. That's a good question. I have 2 flatmates. One girl's literally just moved out and we've got another one. So I'll tell you about the 3 of them. So I live with a girl called Atlanta. She is really cool and we're now good friends. Everyone met on Spare Room. And Lance lived here for like 4 months. And then I did live with Priya, who was here when I moved in. She's just moved out. She's great. And then when Priya moved out, a new girl's just moved in and she's called Izzy and she seems really cool, but we've only lived with her for 24 hours. So we will find out. But we've been so lucky. Like I've been so lucky with Spare Room. Everyone who I've lived with since graduating, I've met on Spare Room and they've all been amazing and so nice and so lovely. So don't be too afraid if you're looking to live with strangers. How did you deal with your first breakup? Half not very well and half incredibly well. Let's go with the incredibly well side first. I gave up drinking. Yay. That was really, really good. Like, so my theory is that, or someone told me, I think, that when you drink, your brain is not processing. So when you are drinking, your brain is not processing. So if you drink away your feelings, they're still going to catch up with you and you still have to process them sometime, just you won't do it while you're drinking, right? So with that in mind, 100 days of sobriety just fucking kicked everything, kicked me into gear, and I just had to process every feeling I had when I had it. And on top of that, I started therapy as well. You know, in a couple of months after my breakup, I was doing really well. However, there was all this other stuff that was happening internally where I was struggling with not drinking. I was in a very mentally dark place. I came off my pill. So I was going mad. It turns out my pill actually serves as some kind of like mental medication as well, because I came off it. I'd been on it for 5 years. I'm now back on it. And I came off it and I felt, and this is no exaggeration at all, I felt as though I might be bipolar. I felt crazy. I felt absolutely crazy. I can't tell you how intense it was. So whilst I wasn't drinking, I was getting no sleep. I was eating terribly. I lost so much weight. Like, this is the thing. So I went back on my pill a couple of months down the line because I didn't feel right. Like, I was so erratic in my brain and my moods were so everywhere. And I was angry and then I was sad and then I was hurt and then I was super happy. Like, I just couldn't keep control of it. And then I went back on my pill and within a week that just mellowed. Like, I just didn't have that urge to go out all the time. I didn't have those mood swings. I wasn't feeling angry all the time. I wasn't feeling happy all the time. I was just feeling like myself. So, how I dealt with my breakup, I like well and not well. And yeah, like, it was just a rough period, but for a bunch of reasons. Okay, I think we're done here. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed making this video. I love just having a chat. I just felt like sitting down with a cup of tea and just talking. So it's really nice I've been able to do that. Hopefully that's answered some questions that you were curious about and been a nice little midweek video. So thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video.